I didn't choose to be child-free. I chose not to have babies with men who could barely even support themselves, let alone a baby. I chose not to start a family with highly toxic men.
Guys, asikhulumen wayenkwata. I've seen videos of ladies celebrating being child-free saying, I have no business getting pregnant for a man who did not marry me. Showed me a deeper level of commitment and that pregnancy looks good if there's a ring on the finger. Lezi nina niyathintekani babitha ku-comment section indaba. Wayenkwata.
People have kids for very selfish reasons. People will have kids to take care of them when they're older, to prove to their parents that they could be a better parent. I literally throw up thinking about that. Literally, my own mother told me, when I told her the shit she did to me growing up, she was like, just have your own kids and do a better job. Excuse me?
Children or no children? Let me tell you my story. In my 30s, I thought I had to have children because growing up as a little girl, we are conditioned and we keep hearing that we should be mommies when we grow up. So I wanted to have children. Unfortunately, I had a huge infection in my tubes and I had to have 2 major surgeries to try and clear the tubes. But you know, they're about the size of it with the hair. The surgeries didn't work. Cut forward, I'm now 40, I'm married, and we realized that we have to do in vitro if we want to have children. In vitro was pretty new in the early 1990s, not at all the success rate that they have nowadays. Technology has totally changed. It didn't work for me. My eggs at 40 were kind of old, and although they fertilized, they would not attach. Who knows if it was because of the eggs or because back then they just didn't know how and when to put them in correctly or at the right time. Am I okay with not having children? Absolutely. I've gone on and had a fulfilling life. Would it be nice to have adult children now? Probably, but it certainly doesn't define the happiness of my life right now. All is good. So if you have grandchildren and children, fabulous. I hope you have a wonderful life with them. For me and so many of my other girlfriends who never had children, we're doing okay.
I'm gonna say something very controversial, but motherhood is a scam. Too many women have been lied to and deceived by society about motherhood. Everyone is celebrating being a mother, it's secret, it's divine, but no one has told women how hard motherhood actually is. I'm not a mom, but I'm a daughter and a friend to many other women. I have seen my own mother and a lot of my other girlfriends sacrifice their lives to motherhood. So my best friend just had a daughter 2 months ago, and she told me, Jessie, I know you don't want kids. If that's your plan, stick to it. Don't change your mind. And mind you, my friend actually got support. So when the baby was born, for the first month, she got a nanny living with them, taking care of the baby 24/7. She didn't have to lift a finger except for feeding the baby. And now her husband's parents are living with them, cleaning, cooking. She doesn't need to do much, but still she told me it's exhausting and her body is starting to have all the low problems. And not even to mention she lost a great career opportunity because of this. So my friend works in this big Chinese company, top tier in the industry. Her boss really values her because my friend is really good at what she does and she's ambitious. So her boss wants to send her to the US to manage the North American business. So she only needs to stay in the US for 2 to 3 years and then return back to China. Immediate promotion to higher leadership position. So basically the rest of her life is set. You know, you don't need to work hard anymore. You can just lay back, chill, great money, easy life. And now all of that is gone because you can't just leave your newborn baby and go to the US. And my friend told me her daughter is the best thing ever happened to her. She loves her so much. She wouldn't trade anything in the world with her daughter like all the other mothers. But still, she told me, you know what, being child-free is kind of nice. So
parents who are mad at child-free content on here are actually just mad at themselves because that content is a reminder that they had another choice. And that can be extremely triggering, especially for women who are realizing that motherhood is not what they were promised. So to already feel this way and then come on here and see women actively avoiding the lifestyle decision that they made is jarring because 1, it feeds into this already existing insecurity that they have, and 2, it is not giving them that external validation that they believed that they were going to receive once they started having kids. Child-free women will always be a threat to the message that a woman's main purpose in life is to have children. And this message is so deeply ingrained into our society that it does take an immense amount of effort, critical thinking, intention, and research and courage to challenge whether you as an individual want that for yourselves. And the majority of child-free women have done this. They have reflected on what motherhood could look like for them, and they have decided that it is not for them and that that path is not right for them, despite the repercussions, such as people online being upset with their decision. I will say this time and time again. It is not enough to have kids simply because you were taught to want kids, because the people around you are having kids and you want to fit in, because you think the aesthetic is cute, because you think it is the next step in your life. Having a child, motherhood, those things are going to irrevocably change your life. Do your research and check in on yourself before making such a big and permanent decision, because you deserve to create a life that reflects exactly what you
Guys, asikhulumen wayenkwata. I've seen videos of ladies celebrating being child-free saying, I have no business getting pregnant for a man who did not marry me. Showed me a deeper level of commitment and that pregnancy looks good if there's a ring on the finger. Leza nina niyathintekani babitha ku-comment section indaba. Wayenkwata. I mean, shouldn't you express that bitterness kumuntu owakuphrekisa ngakushadanga? Why ukwatela umuntu ofuna ukuba stintshe ngewumpi yakhe? And bese nizothrow ama-nonsensical threats niyiduduza ngazi kwenzakalani nithi even if ungashada upreg.
Moms are never talking about girls that don't have kids. Like, I'm never like, oh, she doesn't have kids, she's getting old, she should have kids. Why does it? Never, bitch. I be telling bitches not to have kids. Like, I be like, it's not easy being a mom. This shit is hard. It's a whole ass fucking job and you can never fucking clock out. This shit is a whole job, bitch. Don't have kids. Good. That's good for you. I love that shit for you. But why are y'all bitches that don't have kids so worried about the bitches with kids? Like, y'all always like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have kids. I could just get up and go do whatever I want. Then go do it. Go do it. Why are you talking about me? It's crazy. Y'all be so weird. Like, why do y'all stay fucking shaming moms? And it's like, bitch, you don't have to do the shit that we be doing. And we're never fucking worried about y'all bitches. Don't have kids. That's good for you. That's your decision. I don't give a fuck. I will tell you, don't have kids. Like, what did we do to y'all? Why y'all be so mad?
Ladies, isn't it funny that men say that single mothers have no value and then turn around and say that those of us women who don't have kids have no value because we have not yet produced a child? It's almost like they devalue all of us so that we compete against one another instead of realizing who the real problem is, which is them. Just something to think about. The only way that we can improve our conditions is by having radical empathy for one another as women and by really banding together and loving on and taking care of one another. Because when you really think about it, your friends have likely done way more for you than any man that you've ever dated before. And without expecting anything in return, just because they love you. Lean into your friendships and your relationships with other women, ladies, and do not believe any of the lies that men tell in order to make us compete with one another.
I didn't choose to be child-free. I chose not to have babies with men who could barely even support themselves, let alone a baby. I chose not to start a family with highly toxic men who had mental health issues that they refused to address. I chose not to have children with men who would ultimately themselves just become another child to parent. Whatever the reason, the choice to be child-free for some women is very important. I chose not to procreate with losers.
One of the best decisions I've ever made for myself is to be child-free. And I don't care what anybody says, or if they're gonna come at me in the comments saying I'm selfish and I only care about myself. Because people have kids for very selfish reasons. People will have kids to take care of them when they're older, to prove to their parents that they could be a better parent. I literally throw up thinking about that. Literally, my own mother told me, when I told her that shit she did to me growing up, she was like, just have your own kids and do a better job. Excuse me? Just like, so disgusting. And second of all, I don't need validation from a child. That I'm a good person, that I have worth, that I have purpose, because I can find all that within myself. When you look for that from a child, you will inevitably traumatize them, put them into a role they did not ask to be in, And essentially, you're making a choice on behalf of someone else that didn't get a say in it. Because you wanted to have joy and bring life into the world because it is so beautiful. What about all the other lives that already exist? The billions of them? But it has to come from you though, right? It has to be your own. Because you're fulfilling a reason within yourself. Anyways, on top of that, I spent a huge chunk, all my fucking childhood, being a therapist for my mom, for people around me, constantly literally abandoning myself because I had to make other people happy. And I'm like, dude, I am not putting off my life anymore. Like, I am not going to be living for someone else. I'm going to be living for myself, and I'm going to be living for the people that are already here and existing in the world that I love, that are my soul family. Like, those are the people that matter to me. I don't need to bring another person in here to be like, I don't have friends, so let me have a fucking kid because they'll love me unconditionally. No. Literally, one of the best decisions I could ever make. Literally one of the best decisions I could ever make. I am so happy with my decision every single day. When I have disposable income, I could do whatever the fuck I want. And I could just be free and explore life. And if I want to hang around kids, I will literally go hang around my friends that have kids. Or my family members that have kids. I'm like, yeah, bro, like, let me take your kid for like a couple hours and let me give it back to you. But it's such a beautiful life. It's so awesome. And for anybody that tells you like, you're gonna regret it, it's like, I'm not regretting it right now. I'm not gonna regret it later because I'm not gonna make someone else my guarantee as to why I need someone like to take care of me when I'm older. I'm gonna figure all that shit out on my own and not put that onto a brand new person that I decided to bring here because I wanted to.
Why do y'all hate women that don't want kids? Give me a serious answer that makes sense. What is it about a woman saying, I want a stress-free life, I want a life that is all about me, that pisses y'all off so much? Why does it piss y'all off so much? It's not your body, it's not your life, it's not your choice. It doesn't harm or help you in any way. It literally doesn't affect you. Why do y'all care so much? Why do y'all hate women that don't want kids? And please, give me an answer that doesn't make you sound stupid. Oh, because those women are just selfish. And her being selfish doesn't harm you in any way. Again, it doesn't affect you. Why do you care? Give me an answer that makes sense.
Do you have children?
I don't have children, and I never wanted children. And I can say that is the one thing in my life that I feel 100% zero regrets about. I don't have anything against children. They're lovely, but I never felt the need or the desire. It was just something that never even bubbled in my brain, ever. I just feel like some people are meant to be parents and some people are not. Yeah. Some women are meant to be mothers and some are not. And I feel like people don't know what to do with that. When you tell them that you're a single woman, that you're however old, 65 in my case, and that you've never had children, they can't wrap their brain around that because they don't know what little box to put you in. It's like you're like not really a full woman to them. And I never had that. I'm so grateful that I never had that feeling that I was lacking something. And I also think that on some levels, some people are a little bit threatened by that, because how can you feel a complete person? How can you feel like you're a complete woman? How can you be satisfied in life if you haven't done the one thing that you were supposedly put on earth to do? I did have a friend once tell me years ago, after she had a child, the child was maybe 4 years old, and we were at a party, and she said, just, Joe, if there's anything that you do, just don't miss out on this. Because this is just really, it's just everything. And she's just going on and on and on and how important it was and to not miss out. And even at that time, I was like, there's no fucking way that I'm going to have a 4-year-old. I just didn't feel the urge for that.
I'm going to give my 2 cents on the topic, even though no one asked. This child-free versus child, first of all, it's just a diversionary tactic to distract women and have us pitted against each other again. Now, I'm saying this. I am 51. I have 2 children. I am also a twin. I have a twin sister, so she is also 51, if you're keeping up, and she has no kids. I did not have my first child until I was 28 years old. She is now 22. She does not have any kids, and I have a 12-year-old. I hate to say it, girlies. The women who are coming out and saying that, and the first creator I've seen on the topic, and then I've seen subsequent others that called childless women bitter, that they didn't get chosen, that they were infertile. She called them all kinds of things, really negative. I feel like there was some like hurt there. Not a psychiatrist, not a therapist or anything, but like, girl, like, why the energy? Like, if you want to have 52 kids, you do that. If this one over here wants to have 0, you do that. As a person with 2 children, I'm gonna say it clear and I'm gonna say it plain. I love those muskrats. They have provided just so much joy to my life, and I would not change a thing. But I am jealous of child-free women. I am. I know you can't have your cake and eat it too, but there is something magical about my sister's life. She gets to be a rich auntie. She gets to swoop in, have fun, drop expensive gifts and gift cards, and go home and play with her dog. She doesn't pay college tuition. She doesn't have to be up with sick kids. And best of all, she's got 2 adorable nieces. So for all of those who are like, who's going to take care of you when you get old? Her nieces are. I'm like, that's who's going to take care of her. Those girls love her. So it's not about you have to have your own kids, which I also don't believe that you should rely on your children for elder care. I might be in a situation, as well as my husband, where they are not going to be in a position to take care of us. If I have dementia or some other situation, or they can't lift me, shit, put me somewhere and just come visit. Like, I don't want that for my children. And I think that's a selfish take on a reason to have kids, is because you're going to need elder care. Like, there's like 57 reasons of why they might not be able to do that for you. So to have kids with that in mind is, I don't know, not a good plan to me. The return on investment might not be what you want on that. But once again, I wish women would not pit each other against we wouldn't argue about silly stuff like this. Not to be childless is not because no one picked you. And to have 3 kids and not be married is not a flex. And I'm saying that. I had a child before I was married, and I was with the person. We did get married, and we are now divorced, and I have a new husband that I've been with for 16 years. But that first one, I mean, so we cannot continue to kind of denigrate and downgrade. Your choices are your choices, and as long as you are happy with them, that's all that matters. I mean, but to say that there's not benefits on each side is kind of silly when neither side is absolute. There are pros and cons to both sides. But I have more friends, and I'm, like I said, 51, who don't have kids than do. And we're all in that 50 to, 60 age span, or even like 40 to 60 age span. I have lots of friends who've never had children, and they're okay with that. And so as long as you are okay with it, I actually think that is beautiful, because they are living the life that they want to live. And some of them are married and some of them are not. Some of them travel the world, but they're all super happy and fulfilled. And, my mom friends, are we like battle worn and tired and ran ragged? Yes. Do we love the snuggles, cuddles, and, the successes and joys of our children? Yes. Each of the scenarios have pros and cons. I have much respect for mothers, because I am one, and I have much respect for women who have decided not to be mothers, because not everyone should be a mother. We need to get that out I worked for DCS for a time. Not everyone should be a mother, and that is not the role of women solely. Like, that is not our sole, like, purpose on earth. So if you don't have any other purpose besides producing children, just from an opinion of Stephanie, you probably should find one, because that is not your sole purpose on here on earth, is not to just to create other humans. Okay, in my opinion, it is not. The Lord has intended for you to do something else besides that. So once you figure that out, maybe you'll want to stop having so many children, because children are exhausting. Let's be real. They're lovable. I love my girls. Wouldn't trade them for the world. I would lay down my life for those humans. But I do like to travel alone. I do like to do vacations on my own. I do like to have some me time. And it is super hard to do with a bunch of kids.
People like you. I like people like you. I like y'all because y'all cut the bullshit whenever it comes to children and everything that comes with it. I've gotten so many comments from people being like, oh, you don't want to have children? I have 3 bundles of joy and they make me so happy. So you should have kids so you can be happy too. And then the light at the end of the tunnel is people like you who are like, hey, I have kids. They are very exhausting. They take a lot of work, and I really wouldn't wish this on anybody. So if you don't want kids, don't do it. And it's not that you don't love your babies. You absolutely adore your babies. You would kill anyone if they did anything to your babies, but you also fully acknowledge this ain't for everybody. To be perfectly honest, I probably would have ended up doing the exact same thing like a couple of years ago. I barely missed it by like a couple of years. I was engaged. My fiance wanted like 2 children. I had told him from the get-go that I did not want any. And he hated that shit. He was like, what do you mean you don't want to have kids? You don't want to have my babies? You don't want to raise my legacy up? My mother was like, I want grandchildren. And so everyone was pushing me towards just have kids. You're saying you don't want them now because you're young. You're going to want them later. So people like you make me smile. People like you remind me why I'm making the right decision. Like, thank you. Thank you for cutting the bullshit. Anytime that somebody wants to say how great kids are, no one wants to say how exhausting kids are. No one wants to say how much they drain your energy. No one wants to say how much you don't get to sleep when you have kids. All of that shit, they leave that part out because it's not about actually making you happy. It's about bringing more humans into the world. As if there's not enough here all fucking ready. So thank you to you and people like you.
The fact that moms are currently crashing out because the people are celebrating that they're 21 with no kids, yeah, and making videos about it, and just participating in the funny trend. As a mom that has a 10-year-old, that trend did nothing to me. It didn't piss me off. It didn't make me upset. It didn't make me jealous. I'm actually happy that people are waiting to have kids until they want to have kids because the children won't be hurt. Do y'all not realize that having kids when you don't want to have kids makes you very angry and makes you harmful and dangerous to that child too? They are making fun of the women, especially the women that are like plus size, talking about it looked like you had 5 kids. Are you okay? It's given that y'all hate y'all life, y'all hate y'all kids, and y'all probably don't have no help from y'all spouse or y'all family. But like nobody told y'all to have children. I love my 10-year-old down. I love her. She know I adore her, okay? But she gets on my fucking nerve. Let's be for real. The reason why y'all mad and crashing out and attacking them girl is because y'all see the freedom that y'all wish y'all had. Nobody told y'all to have kids. That's not their problem. Nobody told y'all to marry or be with people that don't fucking help y'all with the churn. So sorry, thoughts and prayers, but them girl ain't got nothing to do with that. You chose that life. You gotta deal with that.
I'm 39 and happily child-free, but every so often I'll wonder, is it true? Like, do you have to have kids to like have a life that's worth living? Just you gotta have so many kids. Like, is it true? And then I found the subreddit Regretful Parents, and I have learned it is not true. And if you're on the fence about having kids, or if you've decided not to have kids, but occasionally you're like, is this the right decision? Go to that subreddit because you will learn that there are a shit ton of parents who regret their children.
Here's another example on how our society just really seems to dislike child-free folks. Should child-free travelers be banned from going on holiday in the middle of summer? Article starts off by saying, many child-free couples choose the busiest and most expensive weeks of the year for their vacation. despite being free to travel at any time. First off, I would be very curious why that author seems to think that child-free folks are free to travel at any time. Just like people with children, we also have responsibilities and obligations. This may be hard for people like that to realize, but we have lives too. Secondly, for a lot of the most popular vacation spots, summer is just the nicest season to go. Like, I'm not gonna pay an exorbitant amount of money to spend a week at the beach when it's 23 degrees outside. And the things that really irked me was that there was definitely some dissent in the comments of the article, but there was a whole lot of support too. Child-free folks will bring up wanting one child-free flight out of 100,000, and we are instantly demonized for it. We are the worst, most selfish people on the planet. But an entire article like this can get written, and the most common response tends to be, "That's a good point. Our lives don't revolve around your kid's school schedule."
For people who are on the fence about having kids, but you ended up having kids, I want to know, stitch this or comment down below, do you feel happier and more fulfilled? Do you feel different in a good way now that you have kids? Or what is the feeling? Do you regret it? Are you glad that you had them? I know that people say whenever they do have kids, even if they were on the fence, that you love your kids no matter what, obviously. But I do know that some people do have regret, and it's a really hard thing to talk about. Obviously you love your kids and you're going to do everything you possibly can for them, but I just have never been the person that's oh my God, I can't wait to have a family, and I'm so on the fence about it. And there's some days where I could see myself having kids, and then there's other days where I absolutely cannot. And I hear all the time people who don't have kids, how happy they are that they didn't have kids. But then it's just such a big decision, and I don't know. I feel like my identity is a huge thing. Having my identity change from just being me, an individual person, and then all of a sudden being the caretaker and the mother of somebody is a huge, I just feel like that mindset shift would be crazy for me and would honestly kind of screw me up a little bit. And just the responsibility and the energy and the time and the money and everything that goes into having kids, it's just so much. And it's such a big decision, and I just want to know. I want to know, how do you feel now that you have them? Would you do anything differently?
I'm one of those women who is 99% sure that they do not want kids. This is something that I have been open about for as long as I can remember. I'm almost 31. I am married. This is something that I brought up to my now husband when we first started dating. He was obviously cool with still marrying me with the possibility that we'd never have kids. But I thought that this would be something interesting to talk about, because most of the time when people hear that I don't want kids, they think it's because, I want freedom and I want to be able to go travel whenever I want to. I don't want to deal with the sleepless nights and all of just the stress that comes with having a child. And that really is part of it, but I think it goes deeper than that. So to backtrack a little bit, the other day I was talking to a friend, and most of my friends, when they get to that point where they're ready to start having kids, I can feel that they feel very tense about telling me that, because they know that I'm that person that really doesn't like kids, doesn't want kids. And of course, I'm always going to be happy for my friends if that's something that they genuinely want. But I asked this friend that came to me and told me that her and her husband are getting to the point where they're ready to start trying to have kids. I said, what is that feeling like to know that you're ready for that? What kind of gets you to that place that you are now? And she was telling me that when she saw other people announce that they were pregnant, she felt this longing inside of her to experience that. And she started, seeing other families out and about with kids, and started thinking that's really something that I want. It's just this internal feeling, this internal urge. And I was telling her that I have literally never felt that in my life. I've never had that feeling or that natural urge or that desire to be pregnant or to have a baby. When I see babies, there's nothing that draws me to them. It's not that I'm repulsed by babies. I don't care for them. It's honestly kind of like how some people have that urge to run a marathon, even if they're not in shape, if they've never been a runner in their life, because they feel like that is something that they just have to check off their list. They just have to do it to feel like they've lived. Whereas I feel the same way about babies and marathons. I don't need either of those to make my life feel complete.
Okay, I'm probably going to make some people mad with this one, but I think the people who aren't sure if they want to have children are the people who would be the best parents. And I say that as someone who is single and 32 and living in New York and child-free, and I'm not sure if I want to have kids, but I do think that I would be a great mom. Why do you think that is?
Chatting with a guy at work today, and he asked me if I had any kids, to which I responded with, "Oh no, I'm not going to have children." He kind of laughs and he's like, "Oh, you say that now, but never say never." To which I responded with, "No, I know for a fact that I'm never going to have children." He got a little curious at that part and was like, "Oh, you know this?" To which I then responded with, "Yeah, I've known since I was a child that I don't want to have kids, and I'm 35 years old now, and that hasn't changed, and I really don't see that changing in the future, so yeah, I can confidently say I don't want kids and I'm never going to have them." And even after that, he still replies with, "Well, you never know." And it's just such a common theme anytime somebody is choosing to be child-free. There are always people, usually parents, who are like, "Oh, you'll regret that one day," like they know the person better than the person knows themselves. Do you not think we know ourselves? Do you not think we understand this decision and have thought about this decision and have our reasons as to why we don't want to be a parent or bring a child into this world? I don't know. It's funny to me. Just that I know myself, all right? I'm not meant to be a parent. Fuck.
I've said it once and I will say it 1,000 times more. I would much rather regret not having children than regret having children later in life.
People like to talk a lot on this app about why they're not having kids, and there are some really great reasons, I'm not gonna lie. Mine is infinitely more simple. My junior year of college, I took a class which was biology for future teachers. I was not a future teacher. I was a theater major though, so I needed something really easy. And our Professor Megan, told us something that has never left me. She told us and said, "Do you know why they call it the miracle of childbirth?" To which most people said, "Oh, it's because, you get a baby out of it and it's a little miracle." Wrong. Apparently, the miracle is that you, as the mother, don't die. Yeah, so never forgot that one.
This is a little bit of a tricky conversation to have. And I try to show, as a child-free creator, I try to show up here really honestly, because I do think it's important to be honest. And obviously people say to child-free people quite a bit that we're going to regret our decision. So this morning I thought that I would do my journaling and would just be really honest with myself and kind of write down the reasons why I'm grateful that I don't have kids, but also the reasons why I regret not having them. So I decided that I am going to share them with you. I think it's important to be honest. So I'm just going to do that now.